Could we call the meeting to order? And could we pause and seek guidance, please? Okay. The next is the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. Now, could I have approval of the agenda? Is there any additions or deletions?
So moved.
Okay, is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Presentations, we have Jay Stone. Would someone like to move forward for Jay?
So seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the minutes. Council, May 27th. Is there any errors or omissions?
I move acceptance of the minutes.
Is there,
for,
oh, sorry.
May 27th. I move acceptance of the minutes for May 27th, 2013. Sorry, I got the wrong century.
1913.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Business arising from the minutes. Village of Westport, Western Lighthouse, and Westport School. We had the meeting with the Westport Village, and I know they've just had another meeting. So I assume we'll just have to put this on for business, under old business for our next month's meeting.
I'll mention it to them if you'd like me to. That we would
Well,
like to know
they just had their meeting,
Yeah, the 20th, I think it
so
was.
they know they're going to get back to us.
So we'll keep it on the agenda
Yes.
until, they're supposed to get back to us regarding their
Yeah.
decisions with the school and the
Mhm.
lighthouse?
Yes. Next is UNSM, increased municipal cost of public education, UNSM letter to Warden, Digby Warden, and UNSM letter to Premier Dexter.
This was a response to the letter from the warden concerning the increasing costs of education. Well, at the same time, the province seems to be reducing their education budget, so we had asked UNSM to write a letter, and I think your copy of the responses.
Yes.
It was also in the news just this week too, where Tri-County School Board just passed their budget and they're going to eliminate 17 teaching positions.
Mm-hmm. I still, in my opinion, I could see other places to be cutting, that's for sure.
Well, they're already cut their aides. They've already, their student people that help with the.
I'm thinking the top
the
end.
children. Well, I'm just saying, and that
The other
has
end.
left a lot of problems. I was told the other day, one person has two children that need constant help, and she's allowed one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and the teacher has to deal with them the other 4 hours, or, well, the other half day.
There's new reporting standards, and I think some of those problems might be in relation to those. They're getting their information from a new type of program where they take extensive notes, and if the extensive notes aren't taken, you can lose your PA pretty quickly, in my opinion.
Ritza?
In the correspondence in the minutes, there was a letter from Maxine Connell, and we were going to respond to that. Has that been written?
Yes.
She asked me today, and maybe we could just let her know.
Okay, but we weren't responding to her. The
No,
direction
she was
was to
sending
write a
her.
letter to the minister, but I can copy her the letter.
Could you do that?
Yeah.
Because she wondered if there was something there. Thank you.
Okay, Counselor Manzer, do you have any old business?
Nothing to me.
Counselor Tudor?
I'm okay.
Anything else, Counselor Evans? Deputy Warden Alpine? And nothing for me. The next is new business. UNSM cost structure memo and UNSM regions. They're asking us, and I felt that we should be looking at that as a council, not as individuals. Maybe we should as well, but I really think it should come out as a council as well.
That's how they want it.
They're asking as a council.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
We should do it
if
together.
you want to do it as an individual, you have the right to send them a letter. But I feel we need to send, no matter what, we need to send from here as a, whether we all agree, but it will be democracy. And I cannot find what I'm looking for here. Okay, our first question. The UNSM board would like council to consider the following questions while reviewing the caucus structure. What are the benefits of a caucus structure? Anyone want to make any comments on the benefits? Okay, go ahead, Deputy Warden.
Well, the benefits of a caucus structure is to, especially when you meet with your colleagues that represent a similar type of municipal unit. Like, for example, the rurals get together and they have a rural meeting.
1967.
You're talking about common interest items, and no different than when the towns get together, they're talking about common interest items. And, you know, and that's how the town's task force came to be, you know, because the towns got together, they saw they have some issues that they want to have dealt with, and that's the avenue that was taken. I think, you know, the benefits are that you get together and you globally, you discuss the issues at hand, whether it's, it could be economic development, it could be to deal with solid waste. And one nice thing too is when the meetings take place, you have an opportunity to talk to your colleagues, find out how they're dealing with issues. And, so, you know, there are benefits to the caucus structure. But
How often do these caucus things?
they meet a couple times a
Couple
year.
times.
It all depends on the call of the chair. And, but what they do is they put it out there prior to the meeting to ask if anybody wants to add anything to the agenda. And, because they, you know, the chair doesn't set the agenda, he lets the membership set the agenda, so.
Okay.
But they meet at the UNSM
Thank you.
fall and spring as well.
Yeah,
They
Yes.
meet as a rural caucus.
so everybody can go to the meetings from the respective caucus, so, and everybody has a voice.
I find, for myself, that sometimes even within rural caucus, say the national one, what they're talking about is more urban than what I can find useful. Even though I am rural, they'll be talking about things like trains and other issues like that, which will have, like, I'm talking about the federal one. So even that
No,
sometimes.
we're not talking about.
Yeah, I know,
we're
but I'm
talking
using
about
that.
the
I'm using that to make my example for the provincial one. So sometimes I find, even within a small area, even when supposedly common interests, I sometimes find it difficult to find those common interests. But for the Nova Scotia rural ones, I find that quite often the issues that are pertinent to the towns are quite, I don't know, removed from my own immediate concerns in my area.
So that's a good thing then, having the rural caucus.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say what I like about it is we meet, we discuss our problems and our concerns and what we can do to improve.
I like the,
Albert?
oh, sorry.
Yes?
I like the intimacy as well.
Thank you. Yes?
The one thing though I'd like to add that, and it's got nothing to do with the UNSM because they don't control how the caucuses operate, but this would be, I would think, I'd like to see this brought up at the next rural caucus meeting, is they should also have it open for teleconference as well. The town's caucus do that. And I know the last time, well, not the last time they met, but I know one time they met just in the last few months. And they had like 95 people, on that conference call. Or I mean, between the people that were physically in the room and the ones that came in over the phone, they had over 95 people take part in that in that meeting, which I thought was great. So, because not everybody has the time to up and go and drive to wherever the meeting's going to be. but they can take a couple of hours and come in by phone. And so, I'd like to say that at the next rural caucus meeting, that maybe that's brought up, so it's made available to the membership of the
Or
rural
phone in.
caucus.
That's a good one for ways to improve the existing
Yeah.
caucus structure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to number 2. What are the challenges of the caucus structure? All right, I'll start. I find sometimes the challenge is we don't always know what the other 2 caucuses are doing.
I agree.
And they feel they don't know what we're doing. That is a challenge. Does anyone think of any others? Jimmy?
I think a challenge also comes back to where the meetings are held. When the chair, depending on who the chair is, the chair hosts the meetings. And a lot of times those can be in the other part of the province. And
Mhm.
it makes it, it's quite a bit of work just to get to a meeting. And I know in the past that the chair has tried to accommodate the membership by instead of having it in his home community, he has moved it down to Truro, which is central, which has been better, but I know there's been quite a few that's been held up towards Amherst, and, you gotta drive quite a ways to get to a
Yeah.
meeting.
Sure, it would be much better.
It would be, and what I find is that when they do have it that far away, you don't get buy-in, you don't get enough people showing up. So I guess back to the change, if the meetings are gonna continue to be held and the chair is riding, that people can call in. And at
Yeah,
least-
but even if even calling in, I still think they should look at more central when they can.
Oh, I know, for sure.
And that's something that could be a challenge because it isn't as central.
Right.
David?
I like it when it's in a place that we can physically all go to, because it gives me an opportunity to work the crowd beforehand, and I find that quite useful. Give people background on whatever issue
Well,
is being
usually
discussed.
at the caucus meetings, you only find the wardens at most of those meetings.
Oh, wasn't I at a rural caucus?
You were at the one.
That was that
at the-
UNSM meeting, so there
Yeah.
are more people there.
Okay.
So 3, are there ways to improve the existing caucus structure? And the one way is the phone in, to be more central is the second way. So not only is it a challenge, it can be an improvement.
I'll tell you, a third way to improve the caucus structure is to have the respective caucuses share their minutes with each another. That way, our minutes get shared with the towns
Yes.
and the regions and vice versa, so you don't have that disconnect.
That would be a big
That's
improvement.
a very good idea.
What other caucuses are besides the municipalities
and
and
the-
towns
And the region.
Regions.
and the regions? Okay.
The regions only normally meet twice a year, and that's at the conferences.
Yeah.
They don't meet other than that,
Yeah, that's just.
but that's just CBRM and HRM.
Number 4, would you prefer to eliminate the caucus structure in favor of the previous regional structure? And if yes, please explain.
To go back to regional meetings?
I was there at
That's what they
regionals.
would- That's what they recommend.
I wasn't around that far back. What were your guys' thoughts on it?
Did you still have
I-
when you were president?
Pardon?
No, I reinstituted them, yeah.
Okay.
What was the farmer's
That's quite-
conversation go
yeah.
on?
And I want to see us continue to do that. I like the caucus structure, but I think with these changes, if we could have these recommendations incorporated, like sharing the minutes and centralizing the meetings and teleconferencing the meetings, it would make it better for, I think we could be more inclusive. But as far as going back to the regional meetings, as the structure, I don't know that we necessarily need to go down that road again, not at this stage of the game. But I do want to see regional meetings incorporated along, like not be the structure, but continue to have regional meetings on an annual basis, because I feel that there's a value to have a regional meeting as well. You get together with your colleagues from your respective part of the province, and you can talk about common interest items.
Mhm.
And last year, when we had the regional meetings, when we reinstituted them, we had 150 people show up to the 5 meetings, which was, good attendance for the first time. And I think they're coming up again pretty soon. When is it? September? September? No, they got a tentative schedule out there right now, but they are going to be having them come up.
Will they always, I'm going to ask the question,
Yeah.
because I know last year it was in Yarmouth. Is there another, does it have to be in Yarmouth each time?
No, it can be whoever wants to host it. And I guess the thing is, it's like, the UNSM isn't going to want to, they're not going to organize the regional meetings, they want someone from the respective region to host it, and it would be a matter of the units in the region to decide on who's going to host it. So we could say we would like to host it, and then, it could be here type thing. But-
I'd like that better.
So I think maybe what we could do is we could also put a letter into this that we would like to also host a regional meeting this year.
I think that would be great for our end, and maybe others would take that hint and put it in for them.
Is it just a day thing?
Yes,
Yeah, it's just a few hours.
usually in the afternoon or evening. They had them in the evening last year.
Yeah.
Number 5, are there alternative models that the UNSM should consider, such as a hybrid model of the caucus and regional structure? I think that's what we're saying in a sense. It is sort of like a hybrid by sharing, but I don't want to go back to the old way.
No, I think the only thing is just to make sure that they know that we support the regional meetings, because
Yeah.
that concept is good, but it's not to take away from the caucus
Yes,
structure.
we don't want, we want the caucus.
The other thing too, I'd like to add to that is that right now, the way it's set up with the president and all that, it's a rural, it's a region, it's a town. Like, for example, right now it's a region, last time it was a rural, and now next year it's going to be a town. That'll be the president. And also, the way it works right now in rotation, every 6 years, HRM has the opportunity to have the president. And CBRM, because CBRM and HRM just share it, they have an agreement where they go back and forth. So to change the structure, because some people thought, should the president have a longer term? And I know when I was president last year, I talked to some other presidents across Canada, and none of them have only a 1-year term. Most of them have at least a 2-year term at the bare minimum. And the reason why is because you're just getting in there, and
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah, it's hard,
and
yeah.
then you're gone, you're out the window.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is it won't work with our structure to change that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you tried to change it, that would mean HRM could possibly only be president
Once every
once every
24
12 years.
So that would be, all of us would be the same.
Wouldn't be 12 years,
It
it'd be
would be
24
every-
if they're sharing.
No, no,
okay.
it would
It'd be
be-
every 6 years for a rural, where now it's every 3.
Yeah.
Then it would go to every 6 years. But see, for HRM and CBRM sharing the regional piece, it would be every 12 years for them.
Oh, yeah. But
And where they represent almost half of the province, population-wise, I don't think it would fly by them. But the fact is, the only other way you could do it is you kept your caucuses the way they were, but you took out that rotation and you just had someone run for president and then, run for a
Period.
2-year term. That would be the only other way you could do it. But,
Yeah.
the system works okay right now, except the only thing is you're in there for such a short period of time and then you're out. And you have a hard time getting anything accomplished.
David?
I'd like to see it be a flat-out vote for president rather than terms. And I'd also like he said, I'd like to see it be at least 2 years. It's hard to, you just get your feet wet.
Okay,
first year.
so guys, you've jumped number 5. So let's go back to number 5. 5 are they alternative models that UNSM should consider, such as hybrid model of caucus regional structure? So I guess for us, it's not really. Okay. Number 6 was, if you're recommending changes to the caucus structure, what would you propose as the basis for structure in the UNSM board? And would you vary the term of office to more than 1 year? I think it's great that you want to, but if you're going to do it, all 3 have to run, because you can't.
Oh, I know.
So you
Or
are
5
making
or 6.
changes to the structure. No, because all I'm saying is, if you run the open door, which is fine,
It won't work.
it will not work. Thank
It's the
you.
way it is. The reason why I'm saying that is because the rurals have probably the most votes. And the reason.
Technically, the rurals could always be in.
The rurals could always be in technically.
It's not gonna work if one can
It's
always
not-
be
no.
there.
It's geared up right now for fairness.
Yeah.
The only issue is that if you did have a longer term in office, it would, it could be a lot better for whoever's the president. But I like the structure the way it is. You've got your vice, you passed, your president, you passed, and all that. And I think the organization's been working pretty good. So I don't see how making too many radical changes is gonna help the organization right now. There's too many things going on in the UNSM that they don't need to worry about making huge changes to their structure.
And you all know your regions. There's the Cape Breton, there's your South Shore, there's Colchester, Cumberland, Pictou, East Hants region, Southwestern Shore region, Valley region. So those are our regions.
I personally would like to see it be more democratic, and I'd like to see it opened up. The argument that the rurals dominate, well, in this country, Ontario dominates, but you still get federal parties that go across the lines. You still get people find commonalities between areas and very different geographic locations throughout the country. Why would that be impossible for a rural person to have a candidate who tries to speak to all of the province rather than just that one particular area?
Okay.
And that's just my opinion.
Yes, and I understand, but what we're saying, or what we're thinking is, all right, I've decided I want to run for secretary treasurer. I'm rural. And I've just beat the barn, and everyone says, oh, she sounds really good. And Jimmy decides that he wants to run for VP. And my God, Jimmy sounds really good. And George decides he wants to run for president. Now, we're all rurals. There's enough people in the room that we can overpower the other. So technically, it could be all rurals. And that's not fair. You may say it's democracy, but that's why we changed the caucuses, because they felt it was too much, that we were, they were trying to make it more fair, yes.
But to address his concerns, there is an election process that you still have the ability to vote on who you want to go forward. And that's at the caucus level.
Yes.
You get to vote for your caucus representatives. There's an election there, and those representatives go forward. They're the ones that sit on the board of directors of the UNSM. And so there is a structure in place. And then when it comes to become the vice president, when I became the vice president, I ran against 2 other people in the province for that. So there is an election process, and you do get to vote. And everybody in the UNSM votes, not just the rural vote for me or whatever. Everybody votes. So there is a good structure in place right now for an election process. So.
It could also be a lot clearer, a lot of that stuff. As a new counselor, I had no idea about any of that when I showed up.
But they
About
did
any-
that.
it-
Don't
The
they
structure is quite complicated.
Yeah, not too much about, I don't remember much about the caucus stuff. I guess you learn that as you go along, right? But I don't think you want to change your system because it's not perfect to something where you get a chance for abuse or
Yeah.
like the rurals could be in all the time. It's not maybe 100% now, but
It could also.
you can't, I wouldn't want to change it to something.
It could also
that's not
force,
fair.
say, for example, those who are looking for election to speak to the broader community, to speak to the
And you-
regions,
like
to
you
speak
mentioned,
to
like Ontario,
the city.
when Ontario joined, they weren't overpopulated like they are now, right? Things have kind of evolved over
Yeah,
time.
Well,
things have
this could
changed.
evolve as well.
Okay, excuse me, Jimmy?
There's one more thing I'd like to add to it, and it's kind of tied to this, but it might drift off a bit. And that is Nova Scotia's representatives on the FCN board. It would be nice to see if all our members, but it doesn't matter, like outside of HRM,
Yes.
if the other 2 representatives, there's 2. There's the president of the UNSM, HRM's got a designated seat, and then there's 2 others. It would be good to see if those 2 positions were funded through the UNSM, even if it meant everybody's membership fees had to go up a little tiny bit, because the way it's structured right now, only large units in this province have the opportunity to send somebody to be a director.
Yes.
Whereas if you had it paid for, so it wasn't a burden on a unit.
Sounds good.
Then I think it would be a lot better, so.
That's a good change.
Yeah.
That's actually an excellent change.
And then everybody in the province gets to vote for whoever wants to go, no different than like, except, so when we do go to an election, there actually would be one. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
'cause people would have an opportunity to run.
Yeah.
But everybody pitches in a little bit because they're representing Nova Scotia.
Right.
That sounds good.
Makes sense.
I like that.
Okay. So the recommendations to the caucus structure, I heard David as one saying he'd like to see changes. I'm hearing the rest of us saying there's not really any changes. So remember I said democracy rules.
Yeah.
No, I don't want
I
to.
understand, but it's
Yeah.
a philosophical point
Yeah.
for me, and I think it would be beneficial for everyone, but that's my view.
That's fine.
And shockingly, I'm not always right.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Who pays for the president and representative?
UNSF.
Who pays for the president to go to FCM?
That comes out of the UNSM expenses, but, and same as the executive director for UNSM. But if the if the other two directors that represented Nova Scotia were also paid for through the UNSM, like, you know, if everybody's membership fees even went up enough to adjust the cost, because it can cost anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 a year.
I was actually told it was costing 25 to 30,
No, it's not that high.
and that came out of, is it Billy Joe?
Billy Joe McLean.
It was someone.
Cost him that 30, everybody else 15. Just joking.
No, was it Lloyd? Someone told us, we were together and we were talking to someone, and they were saying it's supposed to be 25 to
20
30
years
more
ago.
so than,
Yeah, I don't think so. But
How many times do you usually meet?
they have, well, for example, they meet in Ottawa every year, so it's not that expensive to go to Ottawa, the time you fly up there. You know, it's probably, what, for airfare, $600 or $700?
well, yeah, but, I mean, but the time you add up the hotels, the meals, all that stuff,
I know,
the meetings,
but
it adds up.
like, for example, when I was president.
And
last
how
year,
many committees you're on.
I went to the, well, when the committees that you're on, the only time those committees meet are when you are at an FCM board, unless you're on the Green Municipal Fund. Because that's the only other one that is separate from that. The rest of the meetings are
Whoever
all.
we talked to was on the municipal
Well,
Yeah.
okay, that's different.
fund.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his
so that was
cost-
why it was 30.
That's why his cost was so much higher.
Yeah.
Because he's going to help, he's basically putting in twice as many meetings. He's putting in board meetings, plus he's putting in GMSM meetings. But as far as just being a director and not being on the GMF, you're probably looking at $15,000 to $20,000. But
So you
irregardless,
haven't answered my question, how many meetings do you have a year?
there's,
That's a lot of money.
there's four. That's counting the annual general conference.
Yeah.
So you've got one meeting in Ottawa. Well, for example, this year they got one meeting in Ottawa, St. John's, Newfoundland, and one place in Quebec. No,
No, it was the,
no, not St. John's, Newfoundland.
it was St. John's, wasn't it?
There's
No, no.
Ottawa, Northern
Focus.
Ontario, and St. John's, yes.
Oh, okay.
There's three plus.
Niagara Falls.
Plus the annual general meeting.
No, we're not talking about the FCM.
And they don't pay, yeah, so if you're gonna go to the FCM, it would be the same thing. But there's four meetings.
Okay. All right, so there's what our changes are. The next, under new business, is the Western Counties Regional Library. What they want us to do is do the same amount this year as they did last, even though it had dropped down the year before. Now, I'm going to ask Linda, what did we put in our budget?
We put the exact same in as we did last year. So we'd already.
So we're already agreeing to that. So can someone make a motion?
So move that we fund.
I thought that was
Well,
We'll
like,
pass the budget.
No,
so we
no,
don't
but-
need a
I
motion.
thought the content was
We
slightly
don't need a
different.
motion. Should we send a letter then, that we are doing that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll send a letter, sorry.
That's good.
We don't need, so letter will go on that. The next is Digby and Area Health Services. They are asking for more money.
Nope.
I will tell you, I've already asked Linda, we have nothing in the budget for that. I think we're giving Personally, I think 250,000 for the, I actually didn't think it was that, quite that much. I thought it was a lesser amount, with a maximum of 250.
I think the way the letter was written, it was 250.
Oh, okay, I thought it was still
120,
max.
the only, it was over 2 years, 125 over 2 years.
So I hear no, can I hear no? I hear no.
As I'm reading the letter, at the first part of the letter, if I remember correctly, because I read it this morning, it goes on and almost like it sounds like we haven't given a penny, until they finally decide to say in the letter that, oh yeah, we're giving 250,000, but we want more. The reason they want more is that the article in the paper I saw where some landscaping and some planning that they didn't realize that it was going to cost more has come into play. So it's going to cost them more than they, it hasn't started, has it? That was
No.
my other question.
200 and some
It
thousand,
has not started.
235.
But remember, when
No.
you build something, it will come, right? Just like the field of dreams.
Yeah, no.
So we were already spending $250,000 that the province should be spending anyway, plus our incentives for the doctors, which is also money the province should be spending. And no way.
Okay, so we will just send a letter back to me motion to send a letter back that we will not be increasing our funding. Can someone make that motion, please?
I'll make that motion that we send a letter that we will not be increasing our funding.
And is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the Housing Committee, Councilor Tudor.
I was invited to sit in on a meeting with the Housing Committee about, I guess it was about a week and a half ago, and I found it excellent. I felt like there
And
was...
I'm on that committee, and Maritza's on that committee.
Is this the same one that I
Yeah.
went to? Neither of you were there.
Yeah, if we
No,
could
this
make
is,
it.
this might, are you sure? The one with
I'm
the...
positive, I got my
Yeah, I can go to
minutes.
the meeting, and the first one I didn't know about, I ran into Roberta, and she
Okay.
told me I'm going to the next one.
Okay.
So I'm confused.
Yeah, I didn't think you guys, I didn't think this was...
It's not really a committee, it's a group that's gotten together.
I
They've
didn't,
assisted in
I didn't put
the
anything in under council, I just, they asked me to attend as a
And they
woman.
asked me to.
But it's not a council
It's
committee.
not a council committee.
Committee,
No.
no, okay.
I'm extremely interested in it, and I think that there's a lot of value in it, and I can see a lot of work that they could do and myself could do to further that cause. There's no public housing whatsoever in my area with the Western Regional Housing Authority, nothing. I am called weekly, at least, at this, for people trying to find somewhere to live. The houses are, as I've said to you before, but I'll just say it here, you can rent your house out for $200 a day to tourists for 2 months in the summer, or you can rent it out for $400 a month through the year, and the economics is such that it is ripping every single house that people used to live in. Anyone that lives in the States, anyone that lives in Ontario who have a house, they will not rent to locals anymore, and it is causing a huge problem. They can make so much more money if they're renting it, and plus, of course, there's a lot of houses for sale. That's a separate issue entirely. But for people, also, I might add, they never, I doubt, I can't say this for sure, but I'd be surprised if they were registered as businesses, a bulk of these. And it is causing a serious hardship for the local islanders. And I would like to continue to go to this meeting. I just want to let you know, I really like it, and I want
If you want to go
to.
on your own, you're
I
certainly,
will.
yeah. It's the same as Maritza.
I was
and
thinking, though, that it should be something that the municipality is officially involved in. Is there a reason why not?
We have never got an official letter. I was just asked as an warden if I would attend, and I know Maritza was asked because of senior, being on the senior, your committee.
Age-friendly?
Age-friendly, I apologize for calling it the wrong name. Age-friendly community. That is why Maritza was asked. I assume you've been asked because, you know.
Because I'm up to my neck and people
Well,
know house to live in.
And that's fine, but it's not a council, we have never got a formal asking us to attend. I went on my own. This last meeting, they changed the date on us, and I couldn't attend.
I had
They can't-
difficulty as
they
well
can't
tracking
change
down the date.
dates.
Yeah, I had difficulty tracking the
The
date
next
down.
date is just for information, is July 11th at 9:30 at the arena.
I think I have this written down. Double check. What time did you say?
9:30.
9:30, July 11th.
So you're there as the warden, although they haven't officially, like, who organized?
I got
don't
a
know, I
call,
haven't been, so I'm not sure.
I got-
loved it.
I got a call
All I
through,
know is Roberta talked to me about it.
through Roberta and somebody else.
Yeah, there's another lady she mentioned.
Both people called me, and I said I would attend and listen. That's what I told them I would do. It had nothing, they asked me if I would attend and listen as a warden. But I did not feel, I thought it's like some things, you know what I mean, you just attend and listen, and then Dave's already been, but they changed the date on that meeting, and when they changed it, I had stuff in my job I couldn't switch up for. David?
I find this committee directly addresses probably one of the most serious issues that I have down on that island. If I'm trying to get on those islands in that district, if I'm trying to get people to move there, and the people that have been living there for 10 years, non-smoker, no pets, can't find a place to live, it's a real serious obstacle for the continued well-being of that community. And, well, I guess I'll just continue going, because I think there's very few committees that are as pertinent to the major issues that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis as that committee. Very few.
Can I ask you how many people were in attendance?
Well, I'd say about a dozen.
Yeah. And were they from?
They were from the larger area. I could ask for the minutes and probably
Oh,
get the
no,
names.
no.
No, I'm just wondering.
All the way from Yarmouth, all kinds. There was from the Neck, Yarmouth, Digby, Annapolis, different religious groups, different charities, and I felt a real energy in the room towards dealing with these problems. And I thought there was a lot of creativity and a lot of motivation, and I want to be part of that. And I was very pleased with the whole experience. And if council doesn't, they've of course not requested me officially as a councillor, but if they did, I would hope that council would. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
You're
I'm going to
jumping
continue.
the- you're jumping
I'm going to
the gun.
continue going as is, and who knows what the future may bring.
Right.
Okay. It was a wonderful experience. I really liked it. And it's just something that's on my mind so often, and it takes so much time. You spend 6 hours talking to the same 40 people twice a month to try to find somewhere for someone to live.
Okay, thank you.
That's very frustrating.
Next, the Bay of Fundy Tourism Partnership. And what
Where is that?
they're asking us
I don't
if we
have
would
that.
sign,
Become a member.
to become a member of it. And my question was going to be to Linda,
So
is that
after the
what,
June 30 letter.
is that something does that become a conflict for us?
What's going on here? How's it working?
Conflict.
Well, if they ever wanted money or,
New
I mean, I
business?
know technically reading this, it's social networking, working together with its members, you know.
Something's
I
going
just-
on
I don't
here.
see being a member
Oh, I see.
would constitute a conflict.
Okay, that was my concern. I thought it was a good thing otherwise.
I mean, I haven't thought about it. I wouldn't, you know,
Okay.
just glancing at it, I don't think we.
I thought it was a good thing, but I wasn't sure, you know, where it was tourism and everything else. Or not tourism, well, it is tourism.
Bay of Fundy Tourism
Yes.
Partnership.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
Okay.
details on that.
There was a couple things. So are we interested in it?
I
And,
so move that we take up a membership in the Bay of Fundy, what's the last it?
I'd like to second that.
Tourism Partnership
Oh, that's right.
for $125 membership fee.
okay, is there a second?
I'd like to second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion's carried. Next is questions to Southwest Health. Counselor Tudor.
I'd like to ask a few questions to Southwest Health, and I'm wondering if we could send a letter. I believe one's being dealt with, but I'd still like to see the answers. That is the disparity between the emergency room doctor payments and, say, for example, Digby and Yarmouth, but for the entire area. I'd like to know it for each individual hospital. I'd also like to see, well, I know we have the budget, I can just pull that off their website. So what I'd like to know is how much per day is saved by emergency room closures, Digby, and I'd like to just cross-reference that with the budget. And I was wondering if we could get a letter just asking those two simple questions. I've been
Okay,
trying to get
the-
answers
the-
for 4
the-
months for one of them.
Yes, I know. So the first question is, I'm just gonna make it clear in my mind what we're asking. First question is, what is each, in our district or the whole, like?
The whole, not the province, well, might as well, if they
Well,
can
we've been
provide it.
asking, and they keep promising that Dr. Casella will get back to us on that, but that's never happened.
It's 5 months even now.
Yeah, David did ask that question.
And I brought it, I belabored the point a few times. Like, what's going
So
on?
we can send that, and the other is,
So, just getting back to the first one, so do you want it for the whole province?
Well, sure, yeah, that'd be helpful, yeah, because I wouldn't mind taking this to the provincial UNSM there.
especially in Southwest, but
Yeah, in particular Southwest. And I'd also like to have how much per day is saved by emergency room closures in Digby. What is the difference
I could
between
say
it
in
running?
the district.
The district.
You
Yes.
don't,
I don't want to specifically
There's-
ask, might as well get the lot?
well, there's two different places that can close. One is Roseway and one is Digby.
Mhm.
If you're asking, you
Might as
would
well get
ask
them.
for both, you don't
Yeah.
ask for
Yarmouth is never closed.
Some, rarely.
never.
See, I'm just curious if there's, if it's being budgeted for being open or if it's being budgeted for being closed. And this would be able to give me an idea if these closings are honestly, yeah, we can't get anyone Tuesday, oh, it's gotta close, and the budget will be able to tell me that information by cross-referencing those two numbers. And that's what I'm up to, if you want to know.
Okay.
And for the second one, for the ERs, you know, I brought that other
Yes.
motion. This is the second motion that I want. I wanted to bring that motion up at that time, but I still hadn't got the information, and now I'm frustrated, and I'd like to have your guys' support and get that.
So you, David, you're removing those two, ask to write a letter on those two questions?
Yes.
Is there a seconder for that?
I'll second it. But I had a question.
Discussion, Deputy Warden.
With regards to the fact that we've already wrote a letter asking for information, where did it go to the Minister of Health?
There was no letter written.
Oh, we didn't write a letter.
No, we spoke,
Okay.
and I've been told, we spoke to Hubert, Dr. Mott, David did, and I did requesting, and David did again,
Maybe
and
3
David did
times.
again.
Yeah.
But it
Uh,
was, so there was nothing.
And
written.
he said that Dr. Casella was going to be getting those numbers and getting back to us, but
Okay.
it's been over 5 months.
All right.
And I was under the impression that she would have those numbers for me right away, and it was
Well, I
resulting from a
thought-
conversation with her that this was gonna come up, then all of a sudden, nothing.
Well, I think in the letter that it goes, and it should also state that we're aware of the fact that there's a disparity between the different hospitals on what doctors are paid, and we would like to have a breakdown of what that is across the province, because we want to know why our hospital is treated differently than others. You know, and put a little bit to the
Yeah.
letter.
Oh, yeah, we
Mm.
will.
Thank you, guys, well, you haven't voted yet for me.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, we
All in
haven't voted
favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion
yet.
carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thanks.
Next, village legislation discussion paper. You saw the papers that came in on the Association of Nova Scotia Villages on the discussion paper.
Mhm.
I noticed a few things that are quite different than how rules are enforced in the villages in my district. For example, you
Yeah.
can't run unless you own property, you can't vote unless you own property. Things like that from like 100 years ago is what
Really?
they're using rules that were around over 100 years ago. You have to own property, you have to, like, to vote. And I think that they could certainly, I certainly hope that they get a copy of this.
So you've been living there 10 years renting, you can't.
No,
It
you've been there
says-
10 years renting,
It doesn't
no.
have anything to do with ownership, it has to do with residence.
Yeah, it does,
says
3 months.
The MEA residence requirement for electors was changed from 6 months to 3 months in
Mhm.
1994. They cannot do that.
They're still doing it.
Village elections, however, do not run under the MEA, but under the MGA, so the amendment does not apply to residents.
If you're eligible, the short and skinny of it is if you're eligible to vote in a municipal
Municipal.
election, you're eligible to vote
And run.
and run in a village election, and it's not done that way, and I know there's been some serious arguments over this in the past, and this is something, I almost should just print it off and just stick it in the stores so people know it exists. But I don't want to stick my nose in their business at the same time, but it certainly is an education piece. I think it does cause ill feeling in those villages.
Okay.
Women could still vote. That was 2 years ago, they changed that rule, no, just kidding.
Oh, David.
You have to be above 5'2".
I got a dead piece of paper here. Come on.
Not all the villages, they have different rules. I'm not talking all the villages, but
Well, they all have to have the same
some.
rules.
Yeah, they're all supposed to have the same rules, correct.
It's like us. We all have the same rules.
Because I knew somebody that wanted to run, they're like, oh, you can't run, you don't own any property, and this person was actually thinking of buying 1 square foot so that they could run for village commissioner.
So what we are supposed to be doing is send, yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've read through this, and I don't have a problem with it. Basically, what the villagers are asking for is to be, having the same rules to go by as what
Yes, we do.
that municipalities have.
In-camera meetings,
It's
public.
not to give them any more legislative
No.
power as far as what they can do within their boundaries or anything. It's to do with the government of the operation. So I don't have an issue with it.
I agree, it has to do with government's inefficiency and getting things so they're congruent, so you don't have, one act conflicting with another act. Quite dated, the previous act, and I thought it was very common sense, the document, and I liked it.
So we will send that we're comfortable with that?
Mhm.
All right, with this on.
Overdue, maybe even.
Would someone like to make it a motion?
I so move that.
Second.
That
We're
we
comfortable
send
with
that we are fine with the changes, well, with the discussion paper for the changes
Mhm.
under the MGA.
I had no issue with it at all, anything.
Is there any further discussion?
Oh, nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is request for variance to noise bylaw by Burton Cranton. And I will tell you, right now, I only have a white sheet. I've had a white sheet now for about 5 minutes. That's why I said I'm stuck.
What page
Here,
does it?
I put it
I
on.
was on page 30,
You want
and I
this one
went
here?
dead. Oh, thank you.
That's it right there.
Okay,
Here, I'll move this
Bert.
over for you.
hopefully I'll get it. It did
reaches.
this on the weekend for me too. I had a hard time getting.
I had that with me one
my
time.
medication.
All blank.
Yeah, I guess I have. I've had a hard time getting my stuff up. It keeps doing that every once in a while. Just blank. Oh, okay, I will talk to him. Okay. Bert Cranton, Digby Harbor Port Association Wharf Project. Background, orderly and peaceful conduct bylaw, sections 14 and 21. Bert Cranton from OSC Western has applied for an exemption to Schedule A, Part 2, activities proscribed as a Monday to Friday before 7 or after 10 p.m., Saturdays before 8 a.m. and after 10 p.m., and on a Sunday or statutory holiday or Remembrance Day before 9 a.m. and after 9 p.m. The use of operation of construction equipment except where such equipment is used to operate on any highway, construction and operation of any equipment in construction, in connection with construction. Council may grant an exception for an activity of less than 14 days duration without a public hearing. Longer periods or exemptions and renewals of exemptions require the council give the applicant and any persons opposed to the application an opportunity to be heard during the designated council session and may consider such other matters as it seems appropriate. Notice of the time, date, and purpose of the hearing shall be mailed to the assessed owner or owners of the properties located 300 meters of the property which will be the subject of the hearing. In this case, a gravel pit at 774 Logan Road. OSC wants to begin loading their trucks according to the times for low tide, in some cases at 4 a.m. or at daylight. Being restricted to working at low tide, but their engineers will slow the project down if they are not permitted to work during the low tide, which sometimes is very early in the morning. Without the exemption, the project could take 2 years due to the amount of rock that needs to be placed to build the breakwater. Recommendation that council grant a 14-day exemption effective immediately. The exception will be from Monday to Friday and not include weekends or holidays. Now, from what we have gathered, they only want 14 days. Is this, so it's
Total,
in
not
total.
consecutive.
Not consecutive, but in total, which we are allowed to give. After 14 days, it has to go to a hearing.
That's correct.
So if they come back to us and say we need more, that has to be a hearing. I can tell you, I've only heard 2 complaints since the construction began. And one was, they heard a jake brake on Racket Hill, and the other, a jake brake was heard coming down the mountain from the pit. And Linda is going to talk to Mr. Cranton that we can't have jake brakes, especially that time of the morning. I personally feel it's only 14 days, it's gonna stop tying up, they're trying to work 2 tides instead of 1. I think we'd rather see it done in 1 year than 2. In my district, sorry, it's all our municipalities.
I'm fine with it as long as you are, because I mean, it's the residents.
It's the residents in my area, and that's all I've heard, and I will tell you, these trucks have not sped on the road, or if they did, you didn't see it. They stay on their side of the road, they're pausing at the road, they're not just swiftly pulling out. I will, and since it began, there's only been 2 complaints, at
pretty good.
least, and that one came to the municipal office, and the other came to me.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think we just asked for them not to use those jake brakes going down that hill.
Should Mr. Cranton be advised that if he thinks it's gonna be longer, that should apply for a meeting? You don't wanna wait till this 14 days up, then you gotta set a meeting
Oh,
day.
yes, that will
and,
be
so
explained to
that's a
him.
good point.
That will be
You know,
explained.
So he could, halfway through, he might wanna have a meeting to, let people know.
If he realizes he's gonna need longer.
Yeah, he's gonna need
yeah.
more time if he, gets.
Well, I did advise him of that, because I
Yeah.
said it would take a little bit of time
Yeah.
because, people have to be notified.
That's right,
and
you gotta set meeting dates.
People within, 300 meters of the gravel pit have to be personally
Expensive.
served
Yeah.
or put something in the mail. So, yeah, there would be some time involved in setting up a public hearing.
Thank you.
See, it's still not. So, how do you feel?
How do you know which number so we have?
All right, I'm gonna go back to the one before.
So you're totally comfortable with it? It's your
Yes.
district? I'll defer to you on that one then. You know what your locals think?
Well, like I said, I'm going by that I have not heard complaints. 7.
Quiet as can be over.
Okay, so someone make a motion, please?
So moved.
The request for variance to the noise bylaw by Burton Cranton, by
Or
Burton.
by,
Cranton.
by
By, I was
by
gonna
the
say Burton Cranton,
contractor.
OSC, Western.
I so move the recommendations presented to us by our CAO.
Okay. And is there a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. No, when I get up to there, Linda, it's done. It's nothing.
Just, can you keep going down? Maybe it's just.
I've gone further. Still what it did earlier when I told you I couldn't get it. I had to shut it off and do it all over again. Okay, CAO report.
You haven't heard about it.
Yes, I do. I was going to say, I saw that. Just a reminder, July 1st for meetings. July 1st and July 8th, no meeting. July 15th at 6, bylaw and policy. July 22nd at 6, council. July 29th, no meeting. August 5th, no meeting. August 12th, committee of the whole, full council. August 19th and 26th, no meeting. September 2nd, no meeting. September 9th, committee of the whole. September 16th at 5 p.m., transportation. September 16th at 6 p.m., bylaw and policy. September 23rd, 6 p.m., council, and September 30th, no meeting.
Ooh, uh-oh. You got a new book on the last page, August.
And you kept it that long.
It's gonna switch, okay, I did.
Yeah, that's what
Check
the
it out.
July.
There's some, I think I gotta put that on.
I'm proud of it, man.
Thank you.
Full right up.
Now, the next was meeting action items update.
I had one question, that was it.
Okay, what is your question?
Did you hear anything else about welcoming committees? Have you had any luck on that? I know you were on
I
holiday.
haven't done anything on that yet, not focusing on the capital budget,
Okay, no problem. Oh, yeah, you said you were gonna do that after the capital budget.
after the budget.
Yeah, sorry.
I have a question for you, though.
Oh, yes.
What if, the first update that's been there since
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask about.
regarding the, Flower Island Title Center?
They have still not said anything, and the last time I talked to them, put them off again, is
Never
what they
thought to
said.
get you to ask them when you had them in the room.
Yeah, we should have probably brought that up, but I was speaking to them recently about that, and, well, one of them anyway, I was talking to
Why don't we
Jimmy.
send a letter?
Yes.
I think that's our best bet, if we send a letter on this, Linda, and. you
I'll
know,
tell them we'd like an
and
answer.
at the at the same time, you know, as, if they wanted to answer at the same time they were giving us the response on the other two, that sort of gives it a reminder we need to hear from the other as well. So is everyone in agreement that a letter be sent?
Definitely.
Okay, get that off the agenda.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yes, Jimmy, I mean, Deputy Warden.
In regards to the welcoming committee,
Mm-hmm.
what I'd like to do is have that put on the agenda for when we have a shared services committee meeting with the
Mhm.
town, because I think that's something that we should do jointly. I
Mhm.
think it would be a good fit.
There hasn't been a date set for that yet, has there?
No, but.
We'll look at September.
Okay.
So you want to wait?
Or-
Because frankly, I haven't had time to do.
Yep, I would think September, people are going to be on holidays,
Oh, I'd like to have one.
Yeah, well,
you know,
I'd love to.
and, you know, maybe we can look at it so that we can pick an evening that's available for both of us. And yes, that's a good point to be on that meeting.
Mhm.
We know that you're working on the capital budget. So the next thing was May payables. Would someone like to move the May payables?
So moved.
Oh, wait, you have to get the number here. Where is it?
We
Oh, here we go.
pay May payables of $1,064,557.68.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.
There is one thing in my report with regard to the wind turbine at Smith's Cove. I had indicated that it was scheduled for install for June 27th, but that's been moved to the week of July 2nd.
Oh,
So it's just a
Week.
forward a week. Yeah, we're
Okay.
waiting for it. Everything's ready to go. As soon as the turbine is delivered, it can be installed.
Good.
okay. Next is correspondence and information item. We have a thank you from Dr. Donald Westby, and that was for him being the rural practitioner of the year. Matt Wynot's wrap-up for the UARB, Not Your Grandfather's Mining Industry, letter from Warden Ronnie LeBlanc, and that will be sent on as well with the 101.
Sorry.
That's about the signage.
Oh, that's the signage one.
Yeah, sign, good.
That's the signage, isn't it?
Yeah, it is,
it's
yeah.
just, they gave us permission to install the community identifier sign in
On
the
their
district.
side.
Oh, that, okay. And Susan Deline, Friends of Farrell's, thank you. There are no recommendations from Committee of the Whole. Bylaw and policy recommendations. First is the LED streetlights. Would someone like to make that a motion?
Fine, yeah.
Can I just say?
Yep.
Can I just recommend that we move forward with the LED streetlights? As recommended by our,
Bylaw and policy? I would think, because everything's written there.
okay.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, Nova Scotia Moves application, $5,000 cash contribution and $5 in kind contribution.
5,000.
5,000. You said
You
$5.
said $5.
Oh, did I? You say, why did you tell me that?
In kind, we'll answer the phone once.
Go very far.
I thought it
Make at least 10.
Yeah, answer the phone at least once.
I apologize, 5,000 in kind contribution.
I think it's a great little thing. Nova Scotia, I'd move that.
You're moving that?
Yeah, Nova Scotia moves application, 5,000 cash contribution.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. And I'm going to apologize. Marcia, are you okay? I haven't been checking.
Should make it.
Okay, I forgot that you're new here. I mean, you're not new here, but you're new tonight here. If there's anything that we can help you with after, just check with us. And I do apologize. I just see you there typing away and I'm thinking, yeah, but we're doing that crap we do sometimes. Advisory committees. Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee. There's a meeting scheduled for June 27th. Any comments? No? Okay. The next is the Heritage Advisory Committee. Counselor Tudor, Counselor Adams. You have a recommendation? Who's the chair of that? All right, would you make the recommendation, please?
No, me.
I'm not the chair of that.
No, me, yeah. I would like to make a recommendation that we reappoint Louise Mullen to the committee.
I'll second that.
Is there any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
And our next meeting's on the 10th of July.
Next is the 10th of July.
7 PM, municipal office. Oh, PAC, my favorite.
Okay, next, just a minute, is our PAC, Warden Gregory, Counselor Adams, Counselor Tudor. You have the minutes of April 9, 2013. We also had a meeting last week. We are now down to the final draft to come out to us that we're going to go over, and then we'll be bringing to council. This has been months and months of work, line by line, but it has been worth it. It's brought good discussion. It has made us think. It made us, sometimes we found things were really, really good, should stay there. Then we found some things that, because things have changed, we needed to change. It's been a good working group, and I want to say I appreciate the time of the counselors and the reps that are from the public that has been on this committee. David, your turn.
I think that I like to think that the document that will be presented is greatly simplified. A lot of foolish laws that make it into, a lot of laws that might necessarily be to be useful for the community are gone. And so I feel like we're actually accomplishing wonderful things in that committee, and I enjoy every moment of it.
I would like to add that we have great direction from Chris Millian.
Mhm.
We're going to be able to go through it.
Oh, yeah.
I find,
And he has so much experience and background across all the products, doing these kinds of things, and it's a big.
The other comment, since we are talking about the committee, that I've really appreciated has been our building inspector, Kathy Barr, coming in and sitting at the meetings. I think that's been a great help, and it's greatly appreciated. I mean, no offense to the CAO or the deputy CAO, but they're expected to be slaves for us.
you're expected to
We
be
do
slaves.
appreciate the
Yeah, some
dedication.
slaves.
But sometimes it's just nice to know, like Kathy coming in on those evenings. I think it's been a benefit to her too.
I think it's been a learning experience because they are the frontline staff that if there's anyone coming in, a developer or that impacts the land use bylaw, they're the front ones. So
Yeah.
it's important that they're familiar with the land use bylaws.
And
I've seen a change in the expert advice as we've continued. I feel that he's sort of getting the direction that we're going in, and is being quite conducive to that. You see, I feel that we've coalesced around a shared vision, and I find that as time has gone by, the expert has identified it, and it's reflected in his advice, which I appreciate. it shows that he's paying attention greatly to not just the rules themselves, but to the direction that the committee is, it seems to be going in a share together. I like it.
Appreciate that.
Mhm.
Okay, next is our Police Advisory Board. We have not heard anything from the province. I would,
The next step is to actually hold a first joint police advisory board, and that's probably something we'll do in the fall.
okay.
We have a meeting scheduled, though, don't we? July.
I thought
No,
we
we
did
don't.
too.
Pardon?
We may, but I don't think.
I have it written down.
Yeah? I don't have anything written
I think we set it in case there wasn't a joint meeting in the meantime. but I'm
Okay, so
not
just
going
forget
to-
it?
Yeah, I will let people know.
Okay, because I was going to say, I thought we had one in July. Okay. Next is the Remo Advisory Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine and Warden Gregory. We have not met. We will be meeting sometime in August, I believe it is. Western Regional Housing Authority, R. Fitzgerald, we have not had
He
his,
reported, I believe, last month in May. We've had a report up till April,
I was going to say, I thought the last one was April. Okay.
so he usually reports quarterly, so.
The next is the Age Friendly Community Planning Committee, Counselor Adams.
Nothing new.
The Airport Working Group, Counselor Adams.
We're having a fly-in at the airport on July 6th. We'll be dedicating the room to Ron Cooper.
Yep.
And I believe there's an event during the Lobster Bash, isn't there, a racing?
There's
On
the
the-
racing is going on that same day.
Yeah.
If I might interrupt, the Ron
Is it
Cooper
breakfast?
is at 9:30.
8 to
Yeah.
10.
Dedication.
Yeah, so there's a breakfast, yeah.
So let's hope
And
that
other than that,
several
I can't say
council
anything
can come
else.
if possible, would be greatly appreciated, especially where we're doing the dedication.
I tossed it on my.
And I'm not
Yeah, it's okay.
sure, since Deputy CAO's not here and Deputy Warden stepped out, I don't think there's been anything new on any other times, as far as I know.
No, there hasn't.
No, there hasn't. Okay, next is the Annapolis Digby Economic Development Agency. Counselor Tudor, alternate Counselor Adams, AGM held June 21st.
Yeah, we had our meeting, everything other than a minor disagreement about paper cutters and staplers, everything seemed to have gone quite well. We're wrapped up. I even got a chance to use gobbledygook lawyer speak, which was always fun in the final motion. So, yeah, that's all she wrote. We might have a request for the paper cutter, just to let you know.
Okay.
Be prepared.
We'll look at it. The next is the Bay of Fundy Marine Transportation Association.
Yay!
I am so proud to say, the
Yay.
government gave us, or told us, the feds, that they are going to be finding a new ferry to the tune of $60 million. Yay! We are meeting this coming week, actually tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 26th, 25th.
Tomorrow's the 25th.
25th or 26th, we're meeting, I get to my book, which we are going to discuss our next plan on what we could do for more strategic planning on this ferry to get it, but now we have to work at what needs to be done. This has not stopped. Don't think the committee is finished. We are a long way from finished. We need a lot of input to put on of what we need, what we're looking at, you know, what is necessary. The other thing I'd like to comment on, I am so pleased that this whole council turned out for that announcement today. I want to thank you, one and all, because you had to come in early, and I do appreciate it. So, thank you.
Anytime that someone wants to give us $60 million, you can expect, if you want me there at 3 in the morning, I'll be there, with bells on, happy
But
even.
I couldn't tell you what it was. Like, I was asked if we knew in advance, and I said, no,
Nope.
we did not know. Like, he said, you didn't know anything. He said, didn't you get, and I said, the only thing we got was an invitation on Friday. So, but I will tell you, I am super happy. The next is the Digby Annapolis Development Corp. Deputy Warden McAlpine, Counselor Tudor, you have good news.
Good news, today we signed papers and officially we no longer own the call center building.
Oh.
Actually, it's tomorrow's the official closing.
Okay,
Oh.
the papers were signed today.
Signed
Yes,
papers.
please.
So,
That's the end of the month.
this is the end of the month almost.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But
Exceptionally easy process, I might add.
I'm very pleased to see that that's taken place, and it's kind of special to get two good news stories as big as these are in one day.
Yes.
And back from the ferry too, it takes the pressure off of everybody now, knowing that there's a federal commitment to now replace the boat. It may take a little while to replace it, but at least we know that there's a commitment there. Up till today, there was uncertainty as to whether there would be a long-term commitment.
I mean, and I'll tell you, if you could see the hard work of that committee and the concerns, I mean, Christopher Wright, all his dedication for all the minute taking and sending off the letters for us. Jim Thurber being one of the co-chairs, Norm Lockyer being the other co-chair. We saw Mark Surratt. We had many of them, and still do, and are still working diligently.
The disappointment's been, though, that if a bridge failed on a highway thoroughfare, they wouldn't have to do economic impact studies whether they're going to replace it. And there's had to be how many economic impact studies on that boat now? Is it up to 9? Something like that?
9, the efficiency of government.
It's been a lot anyway. I
yeah.
don't know if it's officially 9, but the communities had to prove that the ferry is going to be viable, or that the support of the community there to warrant putting another boat on. And it's kind of disappointing that way, but I think we do need to commend the committee for the work that they've done to get us to where we are today, and the commitment that our MP has made too on our behalf. And I'd like to see us write a letter thanking our MP Greg Kerr for the work that he's done on seeing that a ferry service is going to continue in operation on the long term.
I'd like to see that
And
letter
can we
too.
also, in the same letter, thank him on what they've done for the wharf as well? I mean, both of those projects are big projects that concern the municipality as well,
Yeah.
both ways.
But I think we do need to do that because we haven't done that yet. And he has put a lot of work into lobbying on our behalf for this area.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that happily.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to say that it's nice to see some recognition from the federal government of the nature of transportation in coastal areas. I think there's a disconnect, like as you said, if you had a bridge, they understand that, but a boat across a body of water, for some reason, they don't. The same connection isn't made, and it's nice to see us turn the corner on that.
Okay. The next is the Digby Area Learning Association. Councilor Manson.
We had a meeting today, and the minutes have been passed in, but they didn't get any time for this, so.
We didn't vote on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. But would you like to tell us about their upcoming graduation?
No. They have an upcoming graduation, which I was supposed to do a presentation, but I don't have to now because there was nobody met the requirements for the award, so it was put off for this year.
Nobody met?
Requirements?
No, there was a citizenship or something like that. award.
I've given it out every year for the last few years.
And I did it before that.
Wow.
But I plan on being there. You're planning on still being there, aren't you?
I'll probably still go,
Yeah,
I
I
just
would
didn't
hope
have to
so.
be there to present an award.
No,
So
but
they
you
want
still
to
have to be up on the
Yeah.
stage.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So
of
then we just
course,
had a regular meeting, and they're going to sell their building in the Cornwalls.
They are?
didn't they just buy it?
Yeah. A year ago or so.
It's not working out?
Expenses, fuel last year, I expected the fuel to be around 15, a little bit more than that, and it was around 40.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
That'll do it.
So, no, the previous people had said that it was about 15 to 20,000, it was over 40. So, gonna sell and hopefully rent.
Geez, you could sue for that, maybe a false representation.
No, could have been what they
They
were
induced you
doing
to
for
sell.
maybe they weren't.
Well, we could have told them, because we have the Anita building up there, so, and it's a comparable sized building, that we could have told them what the heating costs were gonna be, and, anyway.
Okay, and the only other thing is, they had their, Learning Grove had their fair this weekend,
Yeah?
and that was successful.
Yeah.
I managed to eat 4 egg rolls.
Yeah?
Ooh, egg rolls.
Mm. The next is the Digby Area Tourism Association.
We didn't have a meeting since
Okay.
last. We had one here, one more in the morning, one, but we haven't been anything since then.
Okay. The next is the Digby Area Recreation Commission, and that's myself and Councilor Manzer. What? Oh, I thought there was a question.
No, I'm just saying we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
No, we just had the meeting on the 19th.
Okay.
So I have, and I've now sent them over to Pat. But I knew they wouldn't be here for this meeting. I wanted to let you know that on the 19th, neither one of your counselor or warden was there.
You weren't there either?
No, I had told them we weren't coming,
Okay, I had,
because I had a PAC and you had another commitment. They knew
no,
that.
I was away for 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, I told them we had a commitment.
And I called ahead, and I called and let them know.
Yeah, they said you had called as well. But they knew a week in advance that we couldn't attend.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to say that on Friday night, they had their 25-year bash, which they had a barbecue, pool, a reptile show. They had games for the kids. You got 5 tickets, and you can win at the 5 games or spend them all in one game. It was for kids, not me. Darn, I was so sad. There was face painting. Jean and Bob both spoke on dark and what we were doing at dark. The turnout wasn't bad. Bob could have, and then they had an ET movie at the end, but it was just too late for me. I couldn't keep up to those hours, 9:30 at night. All the summer staff has been hired. Dark received 2 summer students through grants, and soccer received 1. All staffing in place at the pool, and Dark is sponsoring a life-saving instructor course. Well, they did, June 28th, 29th, and 30th. And then they'll be able to offer their bronze medallion and cross. They're also considering offering an examiner standard clinic and a Red Cross lifeguard conversion course. Digby Dolphins swim team was without a coach. A meeting with parents and a prospective coach was organized by Dark. Mr. Sproul, which is our person, that is our person who is our rep, gathered information for the meeting. There is a coach and a full executive, and they're starting on June 24th. The heat pumps for recreation office and meeting room are still being explored. A meeting was hosted for the DRCDA in Digby. 5 recreational directors had the opportunity to hike some of our trails. Recreation Manager Trudy Payne, Recreation Director of Municipality of Lunenburg, and Frank Grant, Municipality of Yarmouth, made a presentation to the AMA conference in Yarmouth. There is a follow-up to the Sports Cafe. Sports Nova Scotia's put together some funding opportunities for sports groups. John Dominguez agreed to submit a 400-word column every week for the Digby Courier. These were both items that the group wished to have addressed, which is great. The Recreation Manager has attended the 2nd meeting of the Fundy-wide Programming Advisory Committee. All the fields have been fertilized, irrigated, in line for the season for baseball, soccer, and everything. The facility staff will be attending a 1-day course called Sports Turf Field Day in Dartmouth. We found out we needed a new 100-gallon hot water tank that supplies the hot water to the dressing rooms. The tank we had was only a little over 20 years old. I don't know why it wore out. And then the pool was gotten ready. So those have been the updates that we have so far. There is going to be after-school programs, or there has been. There is a fitness programming. One is called, the new one, Belly Fit in Digby, with our instructor, Christine Wright. The youth programs are hosting 2 weeks of tennis camp, 1 week of skateboard camp, that's 3 days, a pleasure boat operators course, as well as a regular day camp. We're working on mini sports camp for Digby and Weymouth. In day camp, this year, the cost is $60 a week. It's from 8:30 to 4. They also will be going to the theme park, and 3 other weeks we're traveling to other places. We have a community tennis club, and we've hired our day camp staff. And then the Ocean Blue Fun Run was a fun and successful event again this school. This year, we had 8 schools, an increase of 1 school from last, participate with a total of 252 runners and walkers. Approximately 40 volunteers helping with traffic and route safety, bib pinning, finish lines, and they all wore pink tops. And I was talking to Bob Powell afterwards, and what was funny, he was saying how proud the kids were, and we were standing at Superstore, and then this little boy walked, and he was walking like this. And he had his pink shirt on. And I said, he was one of the participants. Bob said, yeah. And you could just see they were just glowing. And that, that was after the event. So I thought it was so cute the way it was working. All right. So that is all I have to say on that. Did you want to add anything, George?
No.
The next is the Digby, I like that, Digby Harbor Port Association. We met on the 20th of June. Just want to get into here what we were talking about. We had a breakwater update because of the accident they had down there. They sort of had to get a lot of, they did a lot of safety within their own and the province. The new floating docks are coming. We're looking at possibly in the fall, seeing if we can hire some security staff. The breakwater project consumes about 90% of Jeff's time. They have met with the Wharf Rat Rally to discuss the rally, and we're working on a Port Day event for the summer. So that is what has taken place.
What was the hiring, you said the hiring of?
They're looking at
security
in the
for-
fall,
for
we're not
what?
sure
Is it
yet,
just
but it will be
permanent?
like for night security.
For full-time?
Yeah, summer, yeah. Because it's, to the point, you've got a lot of boats down there, a lot of concerns, and
So they don't have anybody now full-time?
we have a manager.
No, I mean security at nighttime.
We have security pretty well in the day,
Oh.
yeah, between Jeff and our 2 people who can help out. Any other questions? Okay, next is the Digby Library Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine. It says no meeting.
There hasn't been any meeting, but at this time, could I ask, could I step out of the room for a minute? Back at the airport working group, did anybody speak on that?
Yes, Maritza.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
that was all, I said I didn't know if there was anything else that they could.
No,
She
just
said no.
let people know that
Yeah.
it's flying.
Yep, she did. Okay, Digby Municipal Fire Association, Councilor Ramsey.
They had a meeting last week, but I was away, so I will try to get the minutes for that, get them forwarded.
Okay. Next is the Highway 101 Task Force. We have a meeting scheduled for June 25th, so that is tomorrow. Do you realize
Is that tomorrow?
that tomorrow is 6 months to Christmas?
I know, I'm going,
Wow.
that meeting's at 7, right?
Yes, in the Weymouth Library, and you have a key.
I have to-
Okay, next is the Industrial Commission. Deputy Warden McAlpine, who is the chair, and Warden Gregory. There's a meeting scheduled for June 26th. Do you have anything extra you want to add?
No, I think not at this time. We're going to be reviewing RFP for some work to be done, but nothing right now.
Okay. Next is the King's Transit Authority.
I attended for you.
Thank you.
I went under direction to get some specific information, but I wasn't able to get the information. The warden wanted me to. They said I wasn't privy to it, whereas I was not a full member. Is that correct?
Yeah, board member.
Yeah, and they had some other things to discuss, like fees for photocopying and some discussion on worker safety in particular. But I don't know if we'll ever find out the questions for Warden Gregory's. I was wondering about.
We're not going to. I've already been told I've already done this with the
All
chair.
right.
Is there any word yet on what's taking place with them replacing the general manager position?
No.
They're doing it in-house, and I asked, they feel that they can easily deal with it with the current staffing, and there will be no additional charges or wages in regards to that, which is what they said at the meeting.
We're supposed to be looking.
But they are looking for somebody, but right now they're making do. They're giving me a look that,
Well, I believe they have brought in someone who used to work for HRN Transit.
That's only for a,
He's in as an interim.
yeah,
But they brought someone in to
yeah.
cover the work.
that must have been after the meeting, because I don't recall that being mentioned at the meeting. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, they sent out a notice.
Okay, so that was after the meeting? All right.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Has our bus been ordered yet?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
I was under the impression it had been ordered from Dave.
All right.
Yeah, the guy was
Now,
here.
I have
Questions that you
Representative.
were wanting them to answer.
Personnel question.
personnel, I can't.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, just,
May I ask one more?
Yes.
Inside of our bus currently, can we advertise in there, like from the municipality? We can put ads in, we can put
Yes.
stuff in there?
Yes.
Starbucks?
Sorry
I
about.
think we could,
Because I'd like to know
We can
if
sell-
there's a way possibly too, if we could give the Western County Regional Library wanted to put something there, trying to promote the libraries here in
Yep.
Digby and Weymouth, if we
Yep.
could put something in there?
Yep.
that's a good idea, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, get them to contact Arlene at King's Transit.
Darlene?
And I'm waiting to hear what the next meeting is. They had changed it to the fourth Wednesday, moved it back to the third Wednesday, since Ron has, and I have requested it to go back to the fourth Monday, because on the fourth Wednesday, because on the third Wednesday I can't attend.
Another question about advertising. Is there a cost if it's something to do with municipality? And what's our?
It's our bus. They used to have a cost to rent signage, and then they left the person, that contract broke with the other company.
So I don't know how that's arranged now. There were set fees, but I'm not even sure now what.
And where it's our bus,
What
I
the
would think
policy
if we want something in our bus, there shouldn't be a
Like
If
problem.
there's space, yeah.
If there's space in it and we want to promote stuff that we're affiliated with,
I would think so.
we should be able to do it without a cost except for the signing, cost of the signing.
They would have to cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been called on Darlene.
Darlene at King's Transit.
And, yeah, because I have no idea what they're doing now for their advertising,
Okay.
or how they're managing that. If they're doing it, or it's up to the individual municipalities, I have no one contacting me about it.
No. All right, thank you.
The next is Medic, Counselor Tudor.
We withdrawn from Medic. I had an 8-point plan that I've been working on. A lot of it's just me been doing it. So I'm going to continue with that plan. It's just a reporting body, as they've repeatedly explained to me. So I've asked that the minutes continue to be sent to us.
Did we, I know I was away for a couple of weeks, did we formally send a letter?
No.
No, we didn't.
I said that we would be sending a letter in the future.
Well, they probably should make a motion tonight then
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
to withdraw from Medic.
It just,
Well, I thought what we were going to say is for now, we weren't going to send anybody at this time.
yeah, we don't
wanted to
need
receive minutes.
great detail.
So we don't want to withdraw, we're just not sending someone?
Well, it was what my opinion, or what I thought from our discussion.
No, we specifically told you not to say you were.
I said I was trying, and they asked if anyone would be replacing me. I said, not that I'm aware of at this time. And I also said that I would I'd like to keep the minutes, because it is a reporting body, and I do think the minutes are valuable. But I'll be continuing with the work that I had initiated while I was there, and a lot of what we're doing dovetails nicely, like, for example, things like the welcoming committee with the list that I presented a few months ago to council and to Medic, and it's been coming along well, and some of the work's has been very well received by the recruitment committee, and I'm just going to continue doing that on my own.
So, do you want a letter to go to Medic?
Mhm.
What should say?
Oh, sorry, I was just giving my opinion on the whole thing.
What we will be sending Medic is at this time, we will not have a representative attending the meetings.
Mhm.
We want copies of all minutes, and thank you very much.
Mhm.
We weren't withdrawing, we were just not sending a rep for now.
Still want minutes, but I don't know.
We can't
what
withdraw
council
and
will do.
ask for minutes, then.
Yeah, I want my minutes.
The minutes.
And we will be asking the minutes to come to.
No minutes, no money.
I'll pass out here in about 2 seconds.
Okay, next is the Senior Safety Committee, Counselor Tudor, Deputy Warden McAlpine, and it says reappoint Muriel Gogan to committee. So would someone like to make a motion?
Yes, I would like to have a motion to reappoint Muriel Gauguin to committee. Is that how you pronounce that name? Gauguin?
Gogan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary mind? Motion carried. Is there any update from that committee?
We got the,
Last meeting was on May 29th, which was after our last council meeting.
May 29th. So,
I haven't had minutes.
no, I haven't received any yet. It was, no, I haven't got minutes. We had the AGM, and then we followed with a regular meeting, if I remember correctly. It was pretty straightforward.
who's sending out the minutes?
Dawn, I'm assuming.
Can we-
I've had a little bit of trouble with that.
Can we ask,
Let me
we
tr-
haven't had minutes for quite a while.
Let me check my other email address. Maybe you sent it to a different email address.
Could we send an email to Don asking that we get minutes sent here? And we'd like to have the last 3 sets of minutes.
Let me just check to see if they're sending it to an old email address.
That's all right, we'll deal with that.
There's a possibility. I don't check it very much, but.
Okay, next is Transport Declare, Counselor Manzer.
We had our meeting last week,
Mm-hmm.
and our regular meeting and our AGM meeting the same night. And, it was the first meeting since last fall. I think he has a hard time getting that quorum together. So we do have some new board members. That might be easier. Wayne Cadet. And
Yeah, here's one.
there's somebody else, I can't remember who it is, but at least Wayne, I know is for sure. And they had their golf tournament on the weekend, which I think was quite successful. 32 teams registered. The Clare Golf Club.
And they were also O2 on Saturday.
They were at the
Arena.
Clarendon said he was,
Yeah.
Clarendon was there on Saturday.
So, okay, I'm glad, and then when you.
I have one from June 5th here.
And he was pleased with the setup and how everything went. He was very pleased with
Yeah.
the setup.
I don't know what this
Response
is
they got
about.
from people.
Okay. All right, Timeview Terrace, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Counselor Manzer.
There hasn't been a meeting since last council, but we do have a meeting scheduled for this week on the 26th.
Oh, there was the meeting last month?
Since the last council meeting, we haven't met.
We haven't been seeing minutes in quite a while.
No?
Here we go.
Okay. Well, we'll
Could
see.
we get the last 4 sets of minutes at least?
Here we go.
Yep.
I have the minutes
Work on
here.
that.
Just send them on to Linda, that's all you have to do.
I'll email Dawn too and tell her to give her the different email address. She's using an old one.
Upper Clemens Park Society, Counselor Adams, May minutes.
June
We had a
3rd.
meeting on the 20th, last Thursday. We held it in the park. We had a walkthrough. We saw all of the work that's been done to get the park ready for opening, and capital expenditures that we're going to next year. Some of the roofs need to be re-shingled. They had a complete revamp of the roller coaster. They passed flying colors once all the work was done. And when you stand under it, it's amazing that they're replacing the wood. It's a wooden structure, and they're replacing the wood constantly, year after year. And when the inspector came, he was amazed that they had a journal. Every piece of wood they replaced, they wrote down when it was replaced and that, kind of thing. And they had a really good month with the school buses. The day that we went to the meeting, they had 29 school buses in the park that day. And everything seems to be functioning quite well. And they're opening full-time this weekend? I think so, yeah. Venture Park, kind of in because the weather's just been so miserable. So they're hoping that things will pick up. And they've got some good advertising. They've got 10 billboards, 8 in the Halifax area and 2 in Brunswick. And the PR seems to be working well. I don't know if you've watched the news at 5 o'clock, but there's usually a little continuous second going about it in Venture Park or now in the park as well. That's the new thing. So it's coming along. I think the gentleman who's in charge is doing a great job, and it's a good board.
Thank you. The next is waste check. Deputy Warden McAlpine and Warden Gregory. We have the April-May report. We have the regional updates. We will not be meeting till September. At our last meeting,
We met on June the 10th, the last meeting. A couple of things I wanted to highlight
minutes
from
were
that
sent with
meeting.
those reports.
I wanted to speak about the Business of the Month program. It's a program that's been in place now for a little while, by Waste Check, to try to, promote best practices with waste diversion, and it's a way to do a good job, and it allows the business to get basically some free publicity, and it shows that they're doing a good thing. So I asked the question at the last board meeting: how does a business get chosen? It's either when they go in and do their evaluations on businesses, but also sometimes if a business is doing really well, they can submit into them and request for consideration for Business of the Month. So I just wanted to bring that up because if you have a business in your district that you feel would fit to be fit into being the Business of the Month or in that program, that you could pass it on to them. And also, what they did for the first time, they come up with a Club 300 for individuals that are actually doing a really good job. And they had a dinner, tried to thank those people. That was done back in April, but I wanted to raise it because I just wanted to identify too that Ellen Ivans and her grade 1 class at Island Consolidated School and Geraldine Amiro and her O2 class were both inductees into the Club 300. So I just wanted to pass that on. And also they had the Environment Week. During Environment Week, they had a hauler appreciation days again, like they did last year. And through June 2nd to 8th, they went to each of the haulers' sites and had a barbecue for their staff, and just tried to, just to go out there and say thank you for doing a good job for us. So that took place, and what else? I wanted to say too that they've just come up with this My Waste app for smartphones or whatever, and it's just something brand new. If you go on their website, the Waste Check website, you can get the information on how to get the app. But it's going to allow people to know when their collection schedule is. It'll give them all the information.
I've got the app now.
You have it now?
Waste Check was on Saturday to the rink as well,
Yeah.
and they helped me put my app on.
Okay.
And I think they're going to come down, someone from Waste Check's going to come down to one of our council or committee of the whole meetings and do a presentation on it.
Yeah, I asked at the last meeting if they couldn't
Yes.
go to every council in the region and do that presentation to make us
Haven't
aware.
scheduled it yet, but.
Yeah, to let us know about it. And I guess that's all I'd like to say for now.
Okay, thank you. The next is Western Counties Regional Library. At this time, I would like to make a comment. It's under Deputy Warden McAlpine. He is now the new chair of the Western Regional Counties Library, Regional Library. So congratulations.
Thank you. We just had a meeting last week. We had the annual general meeting, and the chair, though, the chair that was there, he spent a lot of time, devoted a lot of his life to the libraries, and Gary Archibald from Yarmouth. And I think it would be nice and appropriate if our council could send him a letter of thank you for the time that he served on the board as chair, because he's passed principal and school system in Yarmouth, and then he devoted a lot of his time to the library program. And he's staying on he's there, he's a government appointment, but his term is up. He thought it was up this fall, but he's got, I guess, a year to go. So, but he's done a great job. They had a luncheon last week too to recognize some of the board members that aren't returning. After the last election last fall, we had a big turnover of people on the board, and we've got 7 new board members. And but when at the luncheon, just to see how many years some of the people had served, like Jean Melanson from Clare, served 31 years.
Wow.
On the library board.
31 years in the library board.
You can read a lot of books in
That was
31.
something else. And Gail Hersey, she just stepped aside. She's taken over as the chair of the Admiral Digby Library Museum. And she's not going to be on the board now, but the new gentleman that's there, a board member from Admiral Digby, I don't remember his name, just met him once. I don't have it right now, but she was on the board for 9 years, so she's put quite a bit of time in there as well. But the biggest struggle that we face is having the funds to continue to operate and to continue to provide the services at the same standards, because the funding that is provided to the library boards, the provincial funding is based on population. And with the population decline in Western Nova Scotia, it's really been a huge hit on us. So far we haven't had to cut hours or cut staff, but if something doesn't change soon, it's going to be hard. There's going to have to be hard decisions made. But
I got some suggestions for you. I'll talk to you later.
yeah, there has been there is a review being done right now on the library's system of Nova Scotia, and so the recommendations of that haven't come back to us yet, but we're hoping to see that maybe by the next board meeting, which isn't going to be till September.
Very good. The next is the Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee. We have had no meeting, and our next meeting has not been.
No date for the next one yet, maybe.
Now, the next is council reports. Councilor Manzer.
Let's see, during the last month, we did the royal tour down at the Fundy for the Princess Annalisa. Then the week after, there was the municipal law thing at the Westin in Halifax. I was in for that on Friday. Then we participated in the Relay for Life until midnight the Friday night. Participated in the Transport Declare Scramble yesterday, representing along with Jimmy, the municipality.
How'd you do?
I think we were 5 under.
Was that good? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right on.
And then my regular monthly committee meetings that I was available for. That's about it for the month.
Very
It's a
nice.
wrap.
Anything else?
No.
Next is Councilor Adams.
I attended the annual general meeting of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities in Vancouver, late May, early June. I also went to the Annapolis Royal Historic Gardens. They had a reception for those municipalities that supported them financially, and it was very nice, except for it rained, so I didn't do much of a tour of the gardens. I I did go to the gift shop. And that's about it. Oh, I went to the reception for Adita at the Annapolis Founding.
Okay. Counselor Tudor.
I went to a bunch of monthly meetings. I'd also like to point out that with Medic, Adita, and the Annapolis Digby, my committee responsibilities are now been quite shortened. So if anybody has it might be time for, as far as being equitable, time for me to take another couple of committees off anybody that's feeling overwhelmed, just to keep it fair. So I'm getting the playground inspected. I've been successful for a resolution for unemployment. I had a fellow trying to get into the what's called Tideview in Freeport, and Island Manor, Island Manor in Freeport. It was kind of interesting. I was told I wouldn't be able to meet with anyone for a week, and it'd be a month before he'd get in. And after 30 minutes, they realized I wasn't hanging up. And later that day, the person in charge of the Western Housing Authority drove to Briar Island, met the guy, and he was in the housing the next day. A lot better than can't talk to anyone for a week. So I was very, very pleased with myself over that. Setting people up with mental health services, there's definitely a problem with that. It's difficult, but there is things out there, and I would also like to bring up the program Schools Plus to everybody. If you ever have any issues with people who have children, Schools Plus is extremely effective, and it can really cut through the bureaucracy and get things done in a hurry. I have a wonderful opinion of that program. Dumpster issues, they got solved. That was a very simple one. I was pleased to pick up delivery of the bench for the local baseball field. I last year asked the IA class, that's the industrial arts class, if they could make me a couple benches for the kids for free, and they did. And I picked them up today. And I got Jim Thurber's lovely son, Corey, to give me a hand. Hauling mower, he has a little truck. I dropped off 6 business plans in total, resulting from my economic development meeting, as which you know there was 3. I had a really good turnout for the first 2. The third was on a beautiful day after a week of crappy weather, and it wasn't as much. I guess 7 or 8 people showed up. Over 25, 30 showed up for both of the other ones, so 25 for Westport, 25 for Freeport. A lot of good activity out of that. I'm getting 400 acres. I'm up to 400 acres now being viewed by the Agricultural Transition Officer, Nicole Burkhart, which I'm really, really happy about. And I'm also been talking to people with farming experience, people that want land but may not be able to purchase it, to be using other people's lands, and there'd be tax benefits for the owners, and just different things like that. And I'm really pleased with how it's going. It really seems to be taking flight. I've heard 2 of the business planners have gotten back to Dan. They keep wanting me. I'm trying to convince them. Dan actually knows 100 times more than me, maybe 1,000. So go to Dan. I filled out forms for permanent disability for 2 people. One person couldn't even hold a pen from arthritis, and that worked out well. That's another example. They said it would be 2 years when I got on the phone with the doctor, 2 years before he'd be seeing, and I did the talk forever, and oh yes, I'll call you again in a couple of days to see if we can follow up on this, and I'll just keep calling because it's my job. And I saw him 2 days later, and he was on his way to the specialist. 2 days, a lot better than 2 years, so I was quite pleased with that as well. I got stood up by the Department of Transportation, but we've rescheduled, and I'm still very optimistic about getting Freeport its work. It's desperately needed. I just keep picturing the Groundhog Day storm blowing everything away, and Freeport just not being ready.
But they let you know that they missed the meeting and they were apologetic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what, because I was saying I don't blame them.
I passed in 3 lighthouse business plans. I'm letting the village do whatever they want with that. I'm done with that, and I'm stop obsessing on that. However, I have a meeting. I'm getting sent a key so I can enter Peters Island, and I've set up a contractor who will give a quote for the repair of Peters Island Light and I've also set up a fellow who will row us across. I imagine now I might just pass that entirely over to Jimmy or one of the other counselors. Just, that it's required for the completion of the business plan. Looking forward towards finding a solution for the fire department in Tiverton. There's been some busyness, so it's been a little hard to set up a meeting. Food bank was yesterday. Here's a funny one. I've been looking for dirt for an elderly lady who's having troubles with her lawn falling into the ocean, which is something that happens down there. I got a giant pile of dirt dumped from the Department of Transportation. They were cleaning up the ditches, and I did over 30 wheelbarrows by hand, and I fixed it. So that was awesome. And I also had some help from some of the local kids. Government benefits, helped some people out with that. Found work for 5 people, which was really awesome through familial contacts. So I was really pleased to help them out with finding some work. Chaperone the Islands Dream Team. Love that. That wasn't municipal, but I threw that in there. And I hope to get back to collecting letters for the wharf dredging. And I'd like to send a real big thanks to Nicole Burkhardt, the Agricultural Transition Officer. I will be sending a letter to her boss, praising her extreme professionalism, wonderful organizing abilities, and just how positive and helpful she's been. And I'm going to say the same thing to Dan Harvey, but I can just tell Dan. You guys did a good job with Dan. And I'm not overusing Dan. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And I'd also like to point out, for another wonderful reason to move to Freeport has come up. I was quite surprised by it. The new $200 million movie said that Freeport, Nova Scotia is the best place in the world to survive a zombie apocalypse. So I'm going to push that and see if I can get a little bit of publicity for the area for tourism. You can go whale watching, you can have a delicious meal at Vina's, you can survive the zombie apocalypse, and then afterwards you can go see the seals at Seal
What happens
Cove.
when you all become zombies?
We're not going to. You guys will be, and I'd like to give an invitation to everyone in the room that if society collapses, you can come to my house and I will feed you periwinkles.
Not in this world, thank you.
Okay.
No periwinkles or penny.
They're delicious.
They're not. Deputy Warden Miller?
I'll be quick.
Sorry.
No problem. I also attended the FCM conference in Vancouver, and by attending the trade show, had an opportunity to speak to different manufacturers of LED lighting, which I thought was appropriate with what we're doing right now. So I brought back information and passed it on to our renewable energy climate change coordinator. I also picked up a bunch of information on green bins. There was 4 different manufacturers of green bins there, and with the program that we have in our region, we're always looking at buy-in bins about every year or every other year. So it's good to pick up information on what was out there. I thought it was a good conference. Good speakers. I think they all spoke well, and I thought the sessions were pretty good. Had an AMA board meeting on the 12th, had a REN meeting on the 14th. We just today got some information from the CAO in Argyle. He was compiling some information to put out to us on the REN, and we have to review that, and then we're going to have another meeting in a couple of weeks. We continue to work on going forward with that. Also on the 14th, I was on the municipal team for Relay for Life. And saying that right now, before I go further, I'd like to say that I think this council really needs to send a really congratulate Pat for the work she does on Relay for Life for this municipality, on the team. The woman does an exceptional job. She got her head shaved off again. This is the second time now she's done that. She raised over $6,000, and I think her and her sister raised probably a lion's share of it. So they've done a super job. Pat should be recognized, I think, by us for the work she's done on that. But anyway.
And perhaps we could do that at the picnic.
Yeah, we could do something special and present it then. That'd be nice. On the 17th, I had a UNSM board meeting. On the 21st, I also attended the Avita reception. And on the 23rd, I participated with George on the municipal team for the Transport Declare tournament. I also want to say there that what I liked about that is we had 3 staff on our team as well, and it gives us a good opportunity to spend some time with staff. So, you know, we had Kenny and Bruce and Scott all from the airport, so that was good. And it's a good thing Scott was there.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I want to add is that I'm having tomorrow, having a joint meeting with Warden Ritchie in Bear River to discuss an update on the sewer project that's going on and the creative community project that Rob is doing. He's going to actually be there to give the community an update on that, and also an update on the parking lot. I was up there on Friday, and it was really nice to see that the Board of Trade had a small sign made and put on a pole saying that this future parking lot is going to be updated, upgraded, and the Board of Trade put it there and recognized the municipality of Digby. So that was nice.
Good.
That's my report.
Okay. Now, mine. I attended the FCM as well. I found it very informative. A lot of the information that presentations and things that I attended have come to the website. I will be sending out an email to all of you so that you have the opportunity to look at them, because they're up on the web. I find meeting and talking with other counselors, often they have, in a different part of the country, have the same problems. It's good to hear what they have done. Sometimes it's stuff to bring home and how we can make it better. It's an excellent time to attend. I also came back.
Excuse me.
Attended Tim Hortons Send a Child to Camp. I went to Tim Hortons and worked a couple hours getting people to buy tickets. I am bringing it up now, next year on June 5th. There is, if we're not at the FCM, they will be doing another Camp Day. If there is any counselor who is interested in helping, they have 2 Tim Hortons. I would pass your names on to Pam, because Pam has always asked me to attend, and I was talking to her the other day, and I said, I'm sure the others would be willing to attend as well. And now that can mean, you know, you may want to go in at 7 o'clock in the morning, you could want to go in at 6 o'clock in the morning, or you could want to go in at 10 o'clock in the morning. I attended after I got back and enjoyed the 2 hours I had there. So it was a lot of fun. I had 2 little girls helping me and their mom, or I was helping them, I don't know which, but I brought those kids around. I said, now, you're the sellers. With a smile, and I said, how can you turn this child down?
Is that what you were saying, just straight there? Man, I'd hate to walk in there with my last $5.
Which is more important, helping kids to camp or you having a coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
Well, then you didn't matter. Spend it.
I'd give you $5 for sure.
I attended, again, the deputy ministers came to Yarmouth,
Oh, yeah.
where we met, and I was very pleased to say that Deputy Warden McAlpine and Councillor Adams attended. And we got the opportunity to talk to Dr. LaFleche, am I saying his name properly, who is actually setting up meetings for us with the province and the feds for the Highway 101. We talked with other ministers. I know that I did, I know that you did, and I know that you did. It was a great thing. They're talking about doing it again. They did it in a different part of the province last year. I'm suggesting they do it at least every year for us and in the other parts of the province. That is how you get to talk. And being all deputy ministers, they're the guys that really are
They
the
stick
worker
around.
bees.
Yeah.
They're the
They stick
worker
around.
bees. And it's good.
They're thick and thin.
They've had
Guys
a
like
run
us
there.
come and go.
So I thought that was very good. We had our social committee meeting, just to let everyone know, And there's been an email sent out on 2 different dates for a picnic at the CAO's home, or cottage home cottage.
Really?
She has consented, and I think it'll be a fun evening. Please make sure you return your emails to Rob, or we're going to assume you don't want to attend. You don't want to attend, you don't have to, but it's a good way to meet with staff and talk to staff, and not being in a position of trying to put, it's good to work together. I attended the Historic Gardens with council.
Excuse me, sorry.
It was nice to hear them talk about the gardens. It's nice to see what the gardens would look like. It was raining, but I did talk about their wishing well, and they showed us some of the gardens, and they were beautiful. I also attended the fire truck rally opening, and then I attended the fire truck rally on Saturday and as well. Then on the 21st, I just wanted to comment that I did go to the 25th anniversary for DARK, and I attended the Adidas reception, their end at the Annapolis Highland Vineyards. On Saturday, this past week, I went to the rink to their meeting with the businesses and community groups. It was fantastic. I hope they had the good turnout. It looked like they did. There was such a good, positive feeling in there for it, and, talking to the different businesses, it was interesting. I found out, for example, I don't guess it's all right to say, but Savage Fuels was telling me his oil was 99 point something cents. I'm paying 107. Well, guess what? 8 cents a click is a lot of money. Guess what I'll be looking at? That's how you find out. I don't usually call around and say, what's your fuel prices? But I'll tell you, I said, oh, well, thank you very much for, because he was there talking. The different people that were there, I had the opportunity to learn a few things. Boulevars was there, and that's who someone I deal with all the time, and they were telling me some things I didn't know. I was talking to Alan Ross's Gates Power equipment. They're looking at maybe being open all day Saturday and closed on Mondays. What did we think of that? They wanted people to fill in. They offered free DVDs on safety using your saws and that type of thing. And so Norma was there, and she said, would you like the one for your husband? I said, I will tell you, his safety pants are underneath our bed in a box. His helmet is out in the garage. I'm sure it works well. He says the pants are too hot and you can't hear with the other stuff on. So I said, no good me taking the DVD. But you did learn a lot, and it was nice. I think it's something that I hope is done again, because it was so interesting, and just learning and seeing. I also went out to the fishing game, they had a fish derby going on, they had a concert on Sunday, and went out to see them. I also attended Learning Grove, their fair, and it was fun. I didn't get my face painted though. I just thought I looked too much like the clown. But sometimes I am. And of course, I guess the best thing was the meeting at 3 o'clock today with Greg Kerr, which we all attended.
Yay, that's right.
So that is what I have been up to. I do want to say while I was away, I spent my 60th birthday away. I attended Yukon at my expense, just so everyone understands that, in Alaska, not the municipalities. And
Did it really? Oh, my God.
I did want to say, I appreciate council doing things that was left, that, our deputy warden and our councilors who have done different activities, and I do appreciate it, Jimmy running the meeting. And sometimes we sound like a love-in, but I will tell you, we have a good council. Are we always perfect? Of course not. Do we argue? Of course. Sometimes when we are meeting, and I want to make this clear to the public, if you're not sure about something we have spoke of tonight, because sometimes we're bringing a recommendation back from the committee of the whole, and we're not going probably into enough detail. The reason being, it's been hashed out of that meeting. It was a public meeting. We're not trying to hide anything. So if at any point someone feels the need to check on something, we are available. The counselor of your area is available. Our CAO, deputy CAO are also available for questions if you have a concern. Would someone like to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.